This will be for the con-assignment, unit fraction exponents. All right, so the thing to remember here, we already know how to do square roots, okay? And the number that is outside of the radical symbol is the root, okay? So square root, you don't write a number, but the square root, the root is actually a 2, okay? That's the only case where you don't write the number, square root. All right, but there is such a thing as other roots. For instance, you could have the third root, okay? And what that means is whatever number is in here, it's asking what number multiplied 3 times will get you the number in here. For instance, the third root of 8 equals 2, okay? And that's because 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8, all right? Or 2 to the third equals 8. All right, so the number outside of the radical symbol is the root. Now, for fractional exponents, let's say you have x to the power of a over b, okay? The numerator is the exponent. And the denominator is the root. Okay? So that's how we're going to break these down, basically, or simplify. And just one other thing you want to know. Let's say you have a fraction, or let's say you have x to the negative 2. And that's the same as x to the negative 2 over 1 if you wanted to make it a fraction. You can shift this whole thing into the denominator and simply change the plus minus sign on the exponent. So this right here is the same as 1 over x squared. Okay, so if you shift this into the denominator, you just change the plus minus sign on the exponent. Okay, you can go the other way as well. If you have 1 over x to the negative 3, you can shift this whole thing up into the numerator, and you just change the sign on the exponent, so that's the same as x to the third. All right, so just so you know, you can shift back and forth and just change the plus minus sign on the exponent. All right, so which expression is equivalent to the square root of k? Well, we said a minute ago, the square root, the root is, for the square root, is actually 2, okay? That's the only case where you don't write it. And k doesn't have an exponent on it. It's the same thing as if it were k to the first power, okay? So we said before, let's keep the k, and we said before the numerator is the exponent. So the exponent here is 1, and the denominator is the root, so that's 2. K to the 1/2 is the same as the square root of k. Answer D. All right. Which of the following is equivalent to y to the 1/7? All right, we have our y. The numerator is the exponent, so it's just y to the 1, or you can leave it as y. And the denominator is the root, so it's the 7th root of y. Okay, and really you don't need the 1, because when it's to the first power, you don't write the 1. So it's just the 7th root of y, and we can see that's answer A. Seventh root of b Okay, so we have b. There's no exponent on the b, so it's just b to the 1, b to the first power. And since the root is 7, the root goes in the denominator. Okay, so the numerator is 1. That's the exponent. And the denominator is the root, b to the 1/7. All right, x to the 1/8. We have x. The numerator is the exponent, so it's x to the first power. All right, you can just leave it as x. The denominator is the root, so it's the 8th root of x. Answer A. All right, these are all pretty easy.